What's up? What it do, soul fam? Welcome down my little rabbit hole on the internet. This is K&M Witchery, and I am Kat Nicoletta Monroe, for those of y'all who may not know. In today's predictions video, I'm going to be talking about the current trajectory of Canada at the point of me recording this on May 1st, 2025. There's a few things that I want to address before we continue on. And the first being that I never operate out of bias. And when I do, I state I am being biased. This, I believe, needs to be point number one, because I already know that many people are going to perceive this as yet another Canadian whining that the Conservative Party Pierre had not won. And while I do understand that sentiment, I don't agree with it when it comes to myself, and that is, should the Conservatives had won, I would also be providing y'all with an update and the pros and cons that come with it unbiasedly. Now, there's no way for me to prove this statement, but as the infamous Tony Montana once said, all I have in this world are balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Now, while I don't have balls, as I am a woman, I do hope that you take my word when I say I'm giving an honest prediction of what it is that I have foreseen for the Canadian population from this point onward. Second point, free will, greatest caveat to any and all predictions. Predictions are not facts, and anything can change at any given time based on our decisions and the aligned action towards the outcome that we would prefer. Now, in particular, I am referencing me stating in the previous video that the Conservative Party, aka Pierre, was set to win. I had also mentioned that if you like it or if you don't like it, to go vote, to take charge, as you should. Now, something changed last minute. The Liberal Party, aka good old Carney, won with a minority Liberal government. And so now the trajectory has changed. I will be very honest with y'all, it took me by surprise as well, as I had been predicting Conservatives coming on in far before Trudeau had even stepped down. So to those of y'all in my DMs, my beautiful clients and friends alike, asking me whether or not this was rigged, y'all, I'm not about to feed into any conspiracies. I also have seen the videos of people taking away some ballot boxes and stuff, but I'm going to come at this from a very pure perspective and claim honesty despite my own biases and say, hey, this was an honest election. Every single vote and ballot was counted. And we're gonna move on from there. Another question that I have been receiving consistently was whether or not Pierre is going to take a seat. Once again, I do not know. And I'm definitely not going to be the type of person that's just going to give an answer just to give one when I don't know. I haven't foreseen that. Now, do I believe that this is the last that we have seen from Mr. Poilievre? No. I also have this inkling that he might have something to do with Trudeau being trialed. Now, this is something that I had already stated in my previous video, so go ahead and check that out, okay? It's there for y'all to watch. I haven't deleted anything or anything like that, so it's for your viewing pleasures. I had stated that Trudeau is more than likely by the end of 2026 to be trialed for something, some sort of legalities, some sort of something. Now, I don't know what that some sort of something is, but I believe that whatever is going to come out might have had Pierre's fingerprints on it, meaning that he uncovered something and he pushed that forward. Now, this is just a prediction. I am not offering any sort of fact. I am not alleging anything. This is just a prediction. I can be wrong, and I am happy to be wrong with the specificities. It's just what my intuition had brought forward. That being said, this could also bring Mr. Mark Carney into that legal trial based on him having had some sort of influence. Now, again, I don't know the specificities here, so I feel like I just need to clarify certain things by saying free will, not facts, and all of that on a repetitive basis before some idiot on here calls me a maggot. Chill. Y'all don't know who I voted for. Y'all don't know if I voted at all. Y'all don't know shit. So please don't make assumptions about me either. All right? Cool. Moving right along. The recession would have happened regardless of which candidate and party had won. That is because the entire world is now facing difficulties. Canada is no different. But where the con comes in, as opposed to a pro, is that with this decision of Carney taking over, it kind of prolongs the financial difficulties for the average Canadian. I had specified in my last video, and I'll be referencing it continuously as required or whatever, I had mentioned that Canada is going to go on the up and up as of 2027. I do want to say that that changed trajectory for the average Canadian, because that comment will now only serve a minute group of individuals, and that are those whom have the financial means to withstand the additional taxation that is going to be inflicted upon Canada across the board, regardless of which province you are in, which will then, for lack of better words, begin to feel as though it's an attack on the middle class. Carbon tax, as we know, will rise even higher than it was prior to the election, and obviously that was kind of cut short for a little while. It's going to be back up and running in very, very good standing, and it will increase in time. I'm looking at my scribbles and notes, by the way, here. Alcohol tax will, of course, go up. Tariffs. Naturally, again, this is happening in majority of places across the world, but should also, Alberta, I'm repping the t-shirt. I also have like a Blue Jays sweater, but I'm not about to wear a sweater in like this heat anyways. Should certain provinces, and yes, there is a pluralization on that statement, go more independent, there will be tariffs within Canada as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. Capital gains tax will also begin to skyrocket. Property tax, income tax, payroll taxes. Essentially, we're going to be bringing home less and spending more. This also includes the cost of transportation. Not only am I referring to the cost of gas, but flights, trains, regular schmegular transits, Ubers, taxis. Consider that going up, 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 which will then influence a greater push for the 15-minute cities by 2026. That is going to be something that will continuously be rolled out. Now, as per my previous video, I had mentioned that even if the Conservative Party would have won, and when I say party, I'm referring to Pierre, like the actual like PM candidate, okay? That the 15-minute city phenomenon would have kept occurring, but it wouldn't have been as rolled out and implemented as it will be under Carney. The plus side of this is the added convenience, because less travel means a little bit less spend and all, but unfortunately, I am predicting a surge of homelessness for the middle class and under, especially by 2029, where the average Canadian will not be able to make ends meet. This, unfortunately, is also meaning that food banks and shelters will also not be able to sustain the demand, and the Canadian citizen will still be expected to offer up more taxes and payments towards the aforementioned taxes, but also for social assistance, as that will go up for the mass immigration plan that Carney has in plan. Now, I'm not here at all to ever say that immigrants are the problem. I myself am an immigrant. I came into Canada when I was a child, became a citizen that way, like many other Canadians, of course, outside of the natives, respectfully, but where those whom are new to the country are going to be offered more vouchers for food, more visas, both literal but also residential, housing and all. The average Canadian will not have that type of assistance outside of a random measly $100, $200 gift card, as I will call it. And that's even if. I do foresee that occurring once again around Christmas time, but the stress factor will go up. This entails more companies to downsize. There are going to be more and more layoffs across the board. This is due to the tariffs, this is due to the taxation, this is due to the simple fact that, again, majority of people will not be able to sustain their financial means of living, which would mean that as any sort of increases to income and salaries will be provided, there will still be cutoffs. Also, in anticipation for there being less sales across the board, I'm not just necessarily referring to things like the example of UPS mass laying off their drivers due to Amazon foreseeing less buys. I'm talking every organization, for the most part. Let's put a number on it, 90%, if you will. Even those giant beasts of corporations, we will be seeing more layoffs. This will then continue to invite the usage of AI to take over an individual's job. Things like healthcare, therapy will be less and less obtainable, again, for the average Canadian, which means that not only will homelessness or starvation, for lack of better words, be on the rise, but mental health will be a crisis across the board, which is why I will say that we really need to begin as a community to stand together and offer each other help and guidance wherever it is that we can. Communities will have to come together because there's far too much division that will continue to occur within this country, and it will pose further problems for the individual because there's just less sustainability, there's less help and understanding that will be made accessible. So do yourselves a favor now and please increase your sense of community as much as you can, because we'll all really need to band together. Now, I'm by no means necessarily stating that Canada is broken, but it will take a sufficiently longer time to make ends meet and to fix it. And so, with that being said, many individuals, Canadians, will be looking to leave Canada as a whole, meaning that more and more people will immigrate using their dual citizenship or applying for visas outside of Canada to then be able to find a more comfortable means of living. Now, there is nowhere on earth, unfortunately, at the moment that I can recommend the best places to move, but please, as always, trust your intuition. If you do not feel safe, secure, and capable of your own means of survival, and you have the means to make changes, to do so sooner than later, because later it's just going to be harder to get out due to the lack of finances that will be funded through and made available to, whether through work ethic or otherwise, to the average Canadian. Whether Alberta will in fact separate from Canada, I will be honest, again, as of the day of me recording this, May 1st, 2025, I do not see that happening, but anything can change based on action, based on free will. If it does occur, there is a higher likelihood of other provinces taking the lead and also choosing to go independent. Now, when I say independent, I am stating that there is less of a likelihood of them joining the United States. I had mentioned in my last video that Canada will always remain Canada and will never become a 51st state, although again, that too can change. One thing that I can vow and promise to y'all is I will continue to show up and make updates should there be any changes that are made to my predictions So just please understand that I'm doing the best I can to foresee what is best for my country as well. Sorry. And for every citizen. Should there be a separation, let's say using Alberta as the primary example based on today's news and there being signatures and new laws being in place or canceled out to perhaps enforce such a separation, it will take a while for it to be legitimized, if at all. But let's talk about what ifs. If it does, I have channeled in that it will only temporarily be an advantage for provinces that are looking to become more independent or leave Canada, which will then again cause more issues with finances across the board and tariffs and all. We're going to be likely breaking Canada up. And, well, personally, biasly speaking now, I hate to see it. The divide has made its way from the United States over to our wonderful Canadians and our mindsets. And I hope that we can all band together and begin to understand that American politics are not Canadian politics. American people, respectfully, are not Canadian people, and there are many Americans who actually disagree with what's going on in their own soil as well. Now, I'm not here to play favoritism and all, but for what it is that I have foreseen, Soul Fam, it looks like we are doing the thing that is not in our Canadian blood, and that is creating further division. This will mean that there's going to be more racism, more crime, not due necessarily to immigrants, and I hope that that particular narrative will begin to diminish, but of course, the collective will do as they wish. But because the cost of living is becoming harder and harder, crime rates will go up because people are desperate to make ends meet. And once you hit a point of desperation and you got nothing else to lose, you're more willing to take risks. So I'm going to say that y'all gotta protect your properties, yourselves as best as possible, however it is that means to you, and of course what is possible to be done. But we can expect that surge as well. Homelessness within major cities is going to be pushed out more and more into the outside, where it almost seems as though homelessness will be made near illegal. There will be more charges, there will be more jail time. Oddly enough, I'm actually foreseeing those whom are homeless be jailed for longer periods of time than those whom are committing crimes. There's a plus side to that. At least they got somewhere to sleep and some food to eat. I wish I had more pros. There isn't a single true positive that I have yet to download. And believe me, it is never ever my intention to fearmonger, but I have to do what is honest in my position, and that is offer people as much warning as I possibly can. The better we are able to prepare ourselves, the better off we'll be. It is better to have and not need than need and not have. So please practice all sorts of precaution, especially on the monetary front. I had also downloaded, before I close this off, that people are going to be using cash under the table. And so if you are able to take out cash, please protect it and use it only in case of emergencies or for projects or means of healthcare that are, again, under the table. Yes, I am speaking about ways of survival. There are going to be less stores that will be accepting things like cash because we're more and more going to be turning into a cashless society where there's going to be more control over every dollar in and out. So again, protect your means, keep your savings high, keep some spare change underneath your bed frame or whatever, and do what you feel is best for you, because cost of living is going to be really rough. And who's going to be favored are the newcomers to Canada. And I believe that that is okay. I think that it's in our Canadian spirit to be giving and helpful and kind to everybody. But unfortunately, that also means that someone is going to take the hit. Someone is going to be responsible for this. And that will again be the average Canadian. Should any predictions change, I will absolutely keep y'all updated, as I said. Again, know that free will can change all things. I do believe that there will be a re-election occurring in 2027. But again, that is in the power of the people to decide. If what it is that I had stated today rattles you, I hope that instead of projecting that anger onto myself, that you turn towards those whom have been voted into power and demand that change and inquire how it is that they're really truly going to make a difference to help more and more Canadians survive, because it is these actions, it is these protests, it is this use of our free will that we can take back Canada and make it more sustainable for everybody. That's it for me, y'all. Thank you so much. I hope this helped anyone who cared to listen, and I'll see you guys in the next video. It'll be a much fun one because I need to reset myself as well. Thanks. Bye.